On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with branding expert Ben Baker about why you might need to think about rebranding. And welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and I'm very excited to have my good friend with me, Ben Baker. Now, Ben is the head storyteller, man in charge of your brand marketing. Ben, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me on board.
Absolutely. So your company's called Your Brand Marketing, and I think it's interesting. You recently went through a rebranding process yourself. So, why did you do that, and what did you learn?
Well, about 10 years ago, when I left my partner and went out on my own, we became CMYK Solutions. Mm-hmm. And 10 years ago, digital wasn't digital. The market wasn't the market. And the world has changed in the last 10 years. I mean, Twitter just celebrated 10 years. Facebook is a little bit older than that. And quite honestly, 10 years ago, we didn't see how powerful, how quickly digital was going to be. In the meantime, we've evolved. We are really an engagement marketing company. I mean, promo is a piece of what we do, but what we're really trying to do is engage the client, understand their brand, their message, their market, and their value, and move forward. CMYK Solutions wasn't telling that story anymore. Our clients were sitting there going, our clients who are our clients get it, they understand it. But when you start talking to new clients, they go, well, you're a printer. And I'm like, well, that doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
So, we started looking probably about 9 months, a year ago, and started thinking about it and sitting there like, okay, what do we want to do? And, do we want to do this? And do we want to spend the time and the money doing it? Is it worth it? And about 6 months ago, I got off my keister, put some money in the bank, and said, all right, it's time to do this.
Yeah.
And the thought process was, what do we do? Well, we work with your brand. We create a living brand is what we do. And we help you move forward. We help you with the communication. We help you with the brand strategy. We help you put everything together. And Your Brand Marketing, surprisingly enough, was available as a URL, in both the .com and the .ca. And I went, it was destiny. And I went, this is simple. It in 3 words tells exactly what we do.
Yeah.
We work with your brand. And it really came from there. And it was a matter of, now that we have a new name, we understand that really who we are is not where we've been in the past, and we have a new story to tell. All right, now we've got the basis to start the whole new branding process.
Right. So I think it's interesting that you do this for other companies as well. And so what are some tips? What are some things you learned when you went through this process and when you help others do it?
Well, it's funny. I mean, if people want to take a look at the journey, there is on our website, and we're just about to process an ebook on branding step by step. So there's a great ebook coming out probably in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
But the biggest thing we do is we sit there and we want to find out, who do people think they are? And who they think they are, in a lot of cases, is not who the public sees them as being. And it's a matter of taking a look at sitting there going, okay, where's the dichotomy? Like, do your staff have the same cultural ideas of your company that you do? Do your customers? Do your customers have a story that they can grab onto and sit there and say, this is why I deal with Kirby Hasseman. This is why I deal with Your Brand Marketing. This is why I deal with any company.
Right. And
sit there and say, okay, am I telling a consistent story? Do people get the value of my story? And do they want to engage with me? And if no, it's time for a rebrand. And the rebrand has to go through, it's not just, a lot of people think a brand is just, a new pretty picture, a new image, on the screen. That's the last thing you do. Branding is more of a step-by-step process to understand your value and your culture as an organization, what you do well, why you do it. And if you can understand those things, that's where you start the marketing from. The marketing comes from a position of value. not what I think my value is, it's what my customers think my value is in the marketplace. And if you can take a look from that point of view, you have the basis to start the branding process and then be able to build a story that you can go out there and tell these people so they can tell other people.
Yeah. No, I like that. And that's great advice because again, it's built from not, and I think we know that inherently that it's not just the logo. It's more about the culture. It's more about the story you tell, but it's good to be reminded of that. So what, if a company decides, hey, look, I think it's time for us to refresh our brand, to go through a rebranding process. What should they expect? What should they be ready for?
You know what? It really depends on the size of the company. You know, if it's a two-person company, the process is a lot simpler. It can be a lot simpler than if it's a multinational.
Sure.
I mean, multinational, you have international laws that you have to deal with. You have, you're going to have a whole series of lawyers involved. You're going to have, you're probably going to go through a name change with a whole bunch of legal ramifications. For instance, when we rebranded, Your Brand Marketing became a division of CMYK Solutions Inc. Why? Because for us, it was a lot simpler from a legal point of view. We already had contracts with customers. We already had contracts with suppliers, relationships with banks, et cetera, et cetera. And with all that, it would have been a challenge to just go to a new name. To do that, it would have been reincorporation, looking for a new line of credit, reestablishing contracts with current customers, et cetera, et cetera. And there's reasons why you do a DBA, and there's reasons why you do a new corp. And a lot of that has to do with your accountants and your lawyers when it comes down to that. But you need to think that this can take upwards from 6 months to 2 years for a branding process, depending on how complex it is. And there's a lot of hidden costs that people don't think of. When you change your name and you change your identity, everything has to go. Like, we literally, anything that had our name on it, anything that had our logo on it, anything that had to do with the old brand is gone. It's letterhead, business card. We took the letterhead, cut it down, and made memo pads out of it. The business cards went to the shredder. All the promotional products got donated to nonprofit organizations. So they would have something. It's useful for them. It's not useful for me.
Sure.
But it's a matter of getting rid of the old brand immediately. So when people see the new brand and you're ready to launch it, you're launching a brand new thing. That means new promotional products, new stationery, new signage, new, you name it. It's everything brand new with the new logo. And those are hidden costs that a lot of people don't think about when they're branding.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, even through the logistics of the banking and the contracts, it's a great point. And I think it's interesting that you've gone through it so that now you can kind of walk people through it on your end too, that you're like, hey, I was just here. I think there's value to that. Well, cool, man. You've answered my 3 questions. Everybody gets a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
Yeah. I mean, let's keep it on the brand comment. Sure. It says, where do you see your brand value, and how do you communicate that the most effectively?
I think that we have developed, our mission is delivering marketing joy. We've been pretty consistent as a company about that. Obviously, it's the name of this web show. I've written a book with that same title. And so I think we try to communicate that across all kinds of genres, whether it's video, whether it's books, whether it's, I think that where we do the best job of telling that story, in my experience, is our videos that are fun and kind of show the personality of our internal company. Whether we do, we're showing funny videos of ourselves and that sort of thing. I think that shows our personality the best. It's also, the challenge of getting everybody to want to do those. But I find that is the thing that resonates the most with our audience. So we try to do it everywhere. But I think if you ask the best place, that's probably the best.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
Fun. Well, I mean, that's what it's got to be. It's got to be fun, because if you're not having fun telling your own story, no one else is going to believe it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
If you can't enjoy your own story and you can't be passionate about telling your own story, who's going to believe that story's worth listening to?
Yeah, then it's the wrong story, right?
It's the wrong story.
Yeah, cool.
So
Well,
so
cool,
find
man.
a story you like and go with it. I like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, hey, that is great. You've answered all my questions. I've answered yours. That's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, but wait! Can you do me a favor? Please subscribe to my channel. If you haven't done it already, the way to do it's right over here. And hey, if you want to watch the last episode, check that out over here. Again, before you leave, subscribe!